Welcome back to the What the FUE podcast. Happy New Year, first of all. Hope everybody had a wonderful Christmas, a wonderful New Year, lots of food, lots of alcohol. Can I say that? Don't know.
I think you can.
Yeah.
Can I just check, am I contractually, I can't even say it, contractually obliged to wear these?
Yeah, no, you have to wear them for the full.
I have to for the whole thing?
Yeah.
Slightly distracting. I quite like it. I think I'm going to take them off.
Yeah, me too. Let's take these off.
I mean, seriously, the budget's obviously gone up this year, but it does look like we've raided Poundland clearance.
No, that's where we got them from.
Oh, did you get them from
No, it was Amazon.
There we go. Let's put them down.
Right, anyway.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
So, what's
Right,
happening?
what's happening? Right, lad?
What are we talking about?
So,
Do I really sound like Cockney?
yeah, it's kind of like...
Apples and pears, oi, 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 Caesar.
No, it's not that bad. It's not that, like, cocky. It's just a bit...
Cockney.
No, cocky. I'm a
Cockney.
I meant cocky.
Okay.
I didn't get that wrong.
Okay.
It's a little bit more diluted. It's not so, like... It's not so towy.
I'm not full Danny Dyer. I'm Diet Coke Dyer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah? You're happy with that?
I don't want to be full Danny Dyer. I take enough abuse as it is on the social media without being...
Yeah.
I normally get Nick Botton from EastEnders.
Or Keir Starmer.
Oh, I get called Keir Starmer.
Oh, have you not seen that one?
What?
Have you not seen that one?
What?
Wait, are they talking about you? I don't actually know what Keir Starmer looks like. Will we have to get that up?
Someone said I look like Keir... I've had Nick Cotton. I think I've had Superman after the accident. And someone said I look like Keir Starmer.
Yeah.
I look nothing like Keir Starmer.
Maybe we'll have to do a...
You look more like Keir Starmer than I look like Keir Starmer. But anyway, we go off topic.
Anyway, enough of Keir Starmer.
We're doing a podcast, allegedly.
We are.
Right. Okay.
So...
Exciting times.
Yes, very exciting. Just, new year, new you, people wanting to get these transformations in at the beginning of the year. Let's talk about it, okay?
Okay.
So, obviously we know January can be a very busy time of the year because it's after Christmas, people are getting paid again, people are wanting to get back onto it, researching hair transplants, looking for companies to go with. Why do you think January is like the time to do it?
I think there is a lot of January, people have resolutions, don't they?
They do,
So it's new year, new me sort of thing. So for me, my resolution every year is I might go to the gym this year, and I think about it. Might think about the whole of January, and then it's February, March, and then I don't do it. But a lot of guys I speak to later on in the year, and they'll be like, "Okay, January, I'm." For some reason, it's almost like we go by the calendar. So new year, new me.
Yeah, no, isn't that weird? A lot of people. So I read this thing. And it was like, instead of waiting till January the 1st to do something or like to do your resolution, do it on like December the 28th. But if you start it before the January 1st, you're more likely to carry on doing it.
So you're saying if I sign up for a gym that I'm never going to go to on December the 28th, I'm more likely not to go it on January 1st again.
Exactly.
I think there's new year, new me. I also think a lot of people, because the hair transplant is a long process. So at bare minimum, you've got 6 months really before you start seeing stuff happen.
Yeah, exactly.
So a couple of reasons. One, people think if I have it done in January, one, I'm not out and about as much. So
true, yeah.
You've got over the Christmas rush of whatever, Christmas
You're not having to see like families, Christmas parties, work parties.
All that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So winter, you're not out about as much. So you've got that. And then by the time it rolls around to summer, you'll be over, the initial growing phases and all this kind of stuff. So by the time you get around to summer, you're 6 months in and your hair transplant be well on the way.
You're probably not going to have to wear a sweaty hat.
No, and I just think it's, but then I say that I always say there's never a right time to have a hair transplant.
Yeah, true, because there's always going to be something.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times clients say to me, is it better to do it in winter? Is it better to do it in summer? There's never a right time,
Just do it when it's right for you, when you...
Yeah, exactly. And you can
when the time comes, the time comes.
Yeah, you can make excuses. Well, I talked to, I've got a wedding, I've got this. I had a hair transplant, and you've got to make certain, not so much sacrifices, but you have to, unless you're a very boring person, and let's be honest, we've got a few of them who work in the office, right? But unless you're a very boring person who's got no friends and no social life, Ed, but was no, he does. He told Ed from the office told us he plays paddle tennis.
Yeah, and he's actually very good.
So as I was saying, has no life, and but everybody, there will always be something.
Yeah,
that there'll be something there, and
if you keep putting it off,
exactly,
you're never going to get around to do it. So just do it.
Exactly, and most of my clients have said to me, I wish I'd done it sooner.
Yeah, I hear a lot of people saying that.
Now, that said, when I do a consultation, I always want someone to go away, have a really good think about it afterwards.
Yeah.
Occasionally, at the end of a consultation, someone will be like, no, I've been thinking about it for ages. I want to get booked in now. I'm like, no. Go away at least for the night.
Yeah.
Or
that's the point, actually. Do you get many people? Because obviously I don't do the consultations. Do you get many people wanting to book like straight away? Or do most people come to you, they have the consultation and then they need some time to think about it? Do you get a lot of people who just go, yeah, I want it straight away?
You do get the odd person who say, literally, I want to book now. And I'll say, as I said, like, no, go away, think about it.
Yeah.
Sometimes you'll get someone who has obviously been doing research, maybe spoken to other companies, and they'll be so keen to do it.
Yeah.
It's almost like I've got to put the brakes on them a little bit.
And just say, chill out.
Hey, listen,
read.
I need to tell you this. Have they told you that? Have they?
Yeah.
And I'll go, I know the other companies didn't tell me that. I'm like, listen, there's a lot of information you need to know, good and bad. Or not good, bad, but like...
No, but things that you might need to stop, like stopping smoking. If that's not something you were able to do, well, then you're going to have to think about it, aren't you? Like, it's many factors to take into account before you jump ahead and...
Yeah, and the thing with me was, when I had my hair transplant, and I always say this to the clients I consult, the company I had mine done with, they told me all the good stuff.
Yes.
Right? They didn't tell me a lot of stuff which I wish I had been told in advance. I still would have done it. It's still one of the best things I ever did.
Oh, yeah.
But afterwards, with regards to, I don't know, little things like exercise, this and that, I know I don't look like it now, but in my younger days, I was quite active. I was quite the gym bunny. Well, I wouldn't go that far. Thank you. And yeah, there was lots of stuff I wasn't told, which I wish I had been told.
Yeah.
To then make an informed decision on the whole thing.
Yeah.
You know?
So going through that, you can then take what you weren't told, and now for all the people that come to you when you're doing your consultations, you can make sure that you're giving these people the information you needed to hear. That's why it's good that you've been through it and you've been there, done that, got the hair.
Yeah. And got the one hair t-shirt.
And got the one hair t-shirt.
Yes, I do think. Now that said, I'm not saying you have to have a hair transplant to be a good consultant. Absolutely not, right? But I do think, me personally, the relationship I have with my clients is that, yes, I'll be telling them stuff that everybody knows, but then I'll also be saying something that's, remember this bit. I remember that personally, that bit. So I am talking from personal experience.
Exactly.
And I think that helps with... afterwards as well, when you're going for the initial healing stage, which isn't ideal for some people, I'll be there, oh mate, I remember that, or wherever it might be. But
yeah, it's nice that they can have somebody to be like, look, it's okay. It's not as bad as you think it's going to be. And they're kind of like, it is just trust, isn't it? They sort of think,
yeah, exactly. About establishing trust and keeping that trust going. So yeah, I mean, going back to the original question with regards to, there's never a right time to do it. There's always a bounce in January.
Yeah.
New year, new me. But all year. But sometimes people will message and they'll go, right, okay, there'll be summer because it's whatever. The summer holidays, I've got 6 weeks off because of the kids. I want to get in. I want to have surgery then. So.
Or I know a lot of people do like the Christmas 2 weeks, don't they?
Yeah.
So it's like, just knocking the off.
Christmas were very busy, mainly because a lot of people have 2 weeks off work. A lot of guys I talk to say they can't stand their mother-in-law, so if they have a hair transplant, they don't even need one, but it gets them out of seeing their mother-in-law for a couple of weeks.
I'm going to pay to get a hair transplant.
People have all different reasons, but yeah, January is generally busy because it's new year, new me, and then by the time you roll around to summer, you're going to be well on your way.
Ready to show off.
Show it off.
Fantastic new hair.
Yeah, and I think I had mine done.
Yeah, I was going to say, when did you have yours done?
Mine was done in October.
Oh, okay, so it's probably actually quite a good time to do it.
Yeah, but you know what? When I had done it, wasn't really it wasn't so much a sort of conscious thing about the time of year.
No.
I had a chat with my mate. He'd had a hair transplant. I did a bit of research, and I thought research, and I thought I want to get this done. And I'm not saying everybody should do it like this. I did my research, and I thought if I dwell on this too much,
You won't do it.
I'll probably talk myself out of it, or spend the money on something else. And it was quite a quick turnaround. It just happens to be in October. But the advantage of this was, as I subsequently found out, by the time it got to April, the first 3 or 4 months, don't get me wrong, it sort of looks worse or it looks better.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? And then a lot of people say once they get to like 4, 5, 6 months, it just
honestly, even though you know this, on about 4 months, I'm looking, this looks awful. This literally looks awful.
Where's the hair?
To full disclaimer, I didn't have it done with Want Hair. This was another company before I worked in the industry. And on about 4 months, I was literally thinking I'm going to have to wear a hat for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then I went away on about 6 or 7 months, and the difference was unbelievable. Now, I don't know if it's because I've got a holiday tan as well.
Yeah. Everyone loves a good holiday glow.
I remember we were on holiday, and funnily enough, we were in Turkey. I wasn't there, I was just on holiday.
Yeah.
And I had a bit of a tan, and I remember I was in the bathroom, and I just caught, we had like ensuite bathroom thing, whatever, and my missus was in the bedroom.
Yeah.
And I was in the bathroom, I just caught myself like side profile.
Looking in the mirror.
I thought, this looks amazing.
Yeah.
Right? So next thing you know, my mate Tom had a hair transplant. So I phoned Tom, right? I just got out of the shower as well. So not only am I in the bathroom, I'm in the bathroom naked. I phoned my mate Tom, and I'm on the phone to Tom very excitedly going, my hair looks amazing, etc., etc., etc.
Yeah.
I then come out the bathroom getting funny looks from my missus saying, why are you naked in the bathroom talking to Tom? And I said, I'm talking about my hair. That's all I was talking about. So yeah, to get some funny looks in. But no, it was just this one moment. And I'd love to say it was a gradual thing. It wasn't. And then it's really weird how it creeps up on you. And I really do, what I find is people, when you first have the hair transplant, everyone's impatient.
Yeah, you are.
So every
They're like,
day,
want instant results there and then.
Every day, I can see it growing a bit. I'm like, it's not growing yet. I can see a bit, or a bit, don't worry about it. And this goes on for months. And then you hit this like period when you're about 3-4 months in, and it's almost like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah. And then that's when you see the growth.
And then it starts
not constantly noticing it every single day. Because if you watch something growing every single day, you're not going to see the difference.
Exactly.
And then you could wait a month. It's like seeing somebody. So like I have a family member who like recently lost a lot of weight. Because I seen her every day, to me, you just think, oh, okay, like you're getting there. But for someone who hadn't seen her, like a family member who lives down south, hadn't seen her in like 3 months, that drastic change is it's just a lot more prominent, isn't it?
Yeah,
than having to like watch it every single day.
If we've got fake grass at our house, so this doesn't really work. But what I'm getting is if you mow your lawn, if you watch it every day, you're not going to notice the growth. If you don't pay any attention to it, a few weeks later, it needs to be cut again.
Yeah.
And this was, I found myself, and with a lot of guys, the first 6 months drags. I then get in contact with my clients on 6 months and 12 months.
Yes.
On 6 months, you've got that sort of, it feels like it's dragged. And then when I message them on 12 months, I'll look at the messages I've had from them. I'm like, that seriously only feels like last week.
Like it was yesterday.
Or a month ago.
Yeah.
And even the client will say, oh God, because the second part of the hair journey, the 6 to 12 month stage, most people have come back to normal life completely.
Yeah, things are normal, back to work.
And just not like, sort of put it out of their mind. If you overthink it, you overanalyze it, you're not going to do yourself any favors, which is easier said than done, because I'm now 5 years post-transplant.
Yeah.
And I've been in their shoes, but yeah, it takes a long time.
It does, yeah.
But yeah, whatever time. The other thing people say to me when we talk about our turkey option that we have, people go, oh, well, I can't go there because it's hot. And I'm like, well, because when you say having a hair transplant in Turkey, people instantly think of Antalya, Turkey,
Yes.
sunbathing.
Yeah, all-inclusive holiday.
Exactly.
Yeah, sunbathing by the pool.
Yeah, and I've said to you, it makes no difference when, even if you had a hair transplant in Turkey with us in July, like peak of the heat, you're in a massively air-conditioned airport, getting in an air-conditioned car into an air-conditioned apartment.
Exactly, from the hotel to your transfer that you get included.
You're not laying on the street on your towel with your factor 50 on. So, yeah, it really doesn't matter when you do it, but it's definitely January's sort of December, January is always a really busy time.
Busy time. Yeah, yeah. Okay, so do you find that like people come to you with certain expectations? So I know we have just like touched on the growth and people expecting there to be a lot of growth within the first couple of weeks, but what other like expectations do people have? Because I bet some people have some weird expectations.
In my experience, the thing sometimes it'll normally be a gentleman. If a gentleman's got quite severe hair loss.
Yes. So we're talking like bald.
Yeah, so we're talking, there's a thing called, it sounds really boring, but there's a thing called the Norwood Scale.
Really interesting.
It's not really, but I'll tell you anyway. It's called the Norwood Scale.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I've seen,
I mean, it's talked about quite, it's not talked about.
No.
Anyway, it's called...
Oh, it's about never.
It's called the Norwood Scale. And if I'm correct, I believe it goes from 1 to 7. 1 being you look like Chewbacca from Star Wars. 7...
That's the really hairy thing, right?
Yes.
The really hairy thing.
Good description of Chewbacca from Star Wars. The really hairy thing. Yes. I could tell you're a fan. I've watched all the films. You haven't you've never watched Star Wars, have you?
No, but I used to play.
You've got a life, so...
Exactly, like you.
Yeah, true.
Lego Star Wars.
Oh, right.
Did you ever play that? Sorry, side note.
Funnily enough, no. But so the hairy Lego figure, that was Chewbacca.
No, I'm talking about like, do you remember PSPs?
Yeah, I'm still pretty old, but yeah.
So like, it was like a Nintendo Switch but like a PSP.
Yeah.
So PlayStation.
Oh, sorry, you mean the game? Yes.
The game console thing.
The game Lego Star Wars.
Yeah, my brother had one.
Right.
And we used to play Lego Star Wars on it, and it was the best.
Right. So you know the one in Lego Star Wars? I'm going to do the thing, so... What? Who's that? What game? That was Lego. What game was that? Lego?
I still don't really know. Oh, was that R2-D2? Hello, bro.
Why are you doing the hands like that? R2-D2 wasn't a fairy.
No, he's like a no.
R2-D2. So, is this a podcast about hair loss, or is this a podcast about the worst Star Wars impressions that we can do between us?
I like that version. Cut. I like that version better. No, but he's a little robot, isn't he? Beep, 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 beep.
Anyway, yes. So going back to the Norwood scale, Norwood 1 would be someone who's got a full head of hair. Norwood 7 would be someone who is somewhat follically challenged. So if someone is generally someone who's a Norwood 7, borderline Norwood 6, I would say is not suitable for a hair transplant.
And is that because there is no hair to be taken from the donor area?
No.
Most likely. No?
So most people, even if they have quite severe hair loss, will still have a level of, an amount of donor hair around the back and sides.
Yeah, because you mainly lose it crown and... So, like it's most common in male pattern baldness to lose it
on the top.
At the top.
We basically, the reason as men we lose our hair is because in our hair there's such, and I'm simplifying this slightly, but in our hair there's such thing called DHT, which is basically a part of our testosterone.
Okay.
But the interesting thing about this, I say that, interesting, is DHT only really affects, in most men, the hair on top.
Yes.
Right? It doesn't generally affect the back and sides.
Round the...
which is what we call the donor area. However, some people, that DHT that's affecting the hair on top, if it really affects the crown and the crown stops dropping down.
Lower at the back.
You're going to minimise the the donor area that we can use.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So sometimes I might look at photos and they've got excessive hair loss, and I'll say to them, look, I'm really, really sorry.
Yeah.
But the amount of grafts we could take is not going to make any significant impact on the amount of hair loss you've got. And sometimes when you say this to people, they will say, thank you very much for being very honest.
Like they really appreciate the honesty rather than you just trying to sell them the procedure.
I always say to them, Dave, I call everyone Dave when I'm using the store. I say, Dave Smith, Dave, I'm telling you this, and I make money from selling hair transplants.
Yeah.
So if I'm telling you this, I gain absolutely nothing from this.
Yeah.
I'm saying it in your best interest, not my personal best interest. And that's also come from someone who's had a hair transplant.
Yeah.
Okay? And
again, wishing that you had been told the same.
Well, I mean, luckily for me, I had quite good hair.
Yeah, it doesn't matter for you, but it's just it's just being the honest. You know?
The honesty, exactly. And sometimes Dave might say, well, I've been told by 3 other companies I only need 2,500 grafts or whatever it might be. And I'm like, Dave.
Bore off, mate.
No, I don't say, Dave, bore off, son. You're bang wrong there, son.
Bang wrong.
I mean, no.
You are bang wrong there, mate.
No. I'm not Australian. What was that? You went,
mate.
Mate, I'm not. I'm from Essex.
Wait, how do you say mate?
Mate, all right, mate?
You're right, mate.
You're right, mate. Well,
anyway.
Well, God, the impressions are awful today. I'll say to Dave, he'll go, right, I've been told I need 2,500 grafts or whatever. I go, Dave, that's not even gonna touch the size.
No.
And
for someone who has some
so when you talk about expectation, I think most people, to be fair, and listen, I don't expect people to know a lot of this. Obviously, why would they know this stuff? I didn't know this stuff.
No, I was doing a
little bit of research into it. But sometimes the expectation is that if someone does have too much hair loss, right, I'll rephrase this. Anybody can have a hair transplant, meaning anybody can have hair removed unless there's an underlying medical condition.
Issue why they can't,
Anybody can have hair taken from their donor area and planted
on the
top
area.
Right. Is that necessarily going to look any good is another question altogether.
Yes.
Right? So if I say to someone they're not suitable for a hair transplant, it's because I don't want them spending the money.
Yeah.
Right? Have a little bit of done and it will look
worse than it did before.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is where it comes about sort of managing expectations. Even people who aren't completely bald, who might be a Norwood 4 or 5, you've also got to say to them, look, okay, because you've got hair loss here, whatever, we can work there, but there's all different things. Like the other one that comes up quite a lot is people. So when you do a hair transplant, the hair always I always say to people, right, if you drew an imaginary line from one ear across the top of your head, right, to the other ear.
Yeah, like that.
Anything forward, right across the top here.
Right.
Yeah, because I said from one ear to the other and you just drew across your forehead. Like with your crayon.
Going over.
Right, over the top.
Over.
Anything forward of that, in my opinion, generally grows better than anything behind. When we start implanting into the crown area, it just doesn't take as well. Wherever you have a hair transplant, with anybody, right?
Yeah. Compared to the front.
The front always grows better. And the difference is, I will tell clients that, and I don't want it to come across like it's a negative, but
no.
You've got to set realistic expectations.
Exactly.
A lot of people have work done in the crown, including the Darth Vader, who owns the company, right? Anybody who has a hair transplant normally has to have a bit of a top up in the crown if they've got
that's quite common.
An exposed crown area.
Yeah.
You know, that said as well, I had a little bit of work done in my crown. It absolutely sorted out the
bit that needs a
minimal bit.
Only a small amount of hair loss.
So I might have someone who's got quite an exposed crown. He'll come say, right, I want to get the crown done. This is a photo of me when I was 25. I want it looking like that. And I'm like, mate, it just, Dave, it's not going to, you know, and again, you've got to set those realistic expectations.
Exactly, yeah.
And
very true.
The amount of guys I talk to, most of them are pretty cool about it, to be fair. And even if it's something you might be being perceived of not being negative, but being honest about it, they're normally quite grateful because, you know, and sometimes I will get stuff.
I think the majority of people would just prefer that.
Respect the honesty.
Respect.
Right?
Yeah.
Now, I also say to people, I also say, look, don't take my word for it. Feel free to obviously talk to, I spoke to several companies when.
Yeah. Well, you need to.
Yeah.
Do your shopping around.
Whatever it might be.
Come back to the best.
And if, I normally leave it like this. I'll turn around and say, like, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably
is.
Right?
Yeah.
And if you talk to 2 or 3 companies or 3 or 4 and 3 of them are saying the same thing and one saying something different, you've got a rough idea of what's going on.
Yeah.
But also as well, all this information that I am going around in a very long-winded way of telling you, you know, particularly of AI these days, you can find this stuff out pretty quick. The problem I find in this industry, a lot of companies will say anything to you to get the money off you.
To get the money. So all that.
And I don't agree with that personally. So there we go. Anyway, my little Chewbacca, what you got for me next? It's not getting any better the more you do it.
Okay,
You're like a Wish version of R2-D2.
Don't you ever say that again.
Wait, you not found a wish? You don't know what R2-D2 is. How can you? Don't ever say that again. You can't get offended by something you don't know what it is. Oh, I can't believe you called me a Wish R2-D2. Oh,
does Wish even exist anymore?
I don't know. I was born in 1978. I still shop in B-Jam. You won't know what that is, will you?
What?
B-Jam is the precursor to Iceland, but we're going off topic.
B-Jam?
Iceland used to be called B-Jam.
I don't go to Iceland either.
You don't go Iceland?
Not really, no.
Oh, okay.
They do frozen stuff, don't they?
Yes, Iceland is... Iceland, funnily enough, it's all in the name. It's not called...
Ice.
It's not called Sunland. Iceland, you're right, they do it's all frozen food.
Yeah.
But they do some fresh stuff. Anyway, we go off topic.
We do go off topic. So, back to the podcast. So, we talked about the common expectations and what people, you know, think that they're going to get out of it, but might not. What, in a couple sentences...
What are you trying to say?
The quickest way possible.
Oh, dear.
What can you realistically expect from the first 6 months from your hair transplant?
Not a lot of growth.
Not a lot. Yeah.
First 6 months.
First 6 months.
And you want me to a short version?
Just a very, very short version. We've talked about expectations, but what can be definitely expected in that first 6 months?
It's going to be tough to keep it short, but let's go. Right, so after your initial recovery period, which might be 10 or 14 days, depending which clinic and surgeon you've seen, but please stick strictly to those recovery periods.
Yes.
After 10 or 14 days, you're going to look in the mirror, you're going to see your new hairline, and you are going to think all Christmases have come at once. You will be over the moon. Then what happens is over the next 3 months, you will go through the shedding phase or the ugly duckling phase.
Okay.
And over that period, that new hairline is going to start sort of just like disappearing. And you will then be looking at, so on day 10 and 14, you'll go, this looks amazing.
Yes.
Over the next 3 months, you'll be going, this doesn't look amazing.
Doesn't look great.
And then you'll question it. And then from 3 or 4 months post-surgery, new hair will start growing through. See my dry?
Yeah. Beep, beep.
Start growing, beep, boop, and start growing through. But when it starts growing, it's very thin and patchy. It doesn't grow all at the same time.
Yeah.
It might grow on the left, not the right, and then the right, not the left. It's very stop-start. And that's when it starts growing. And then that growth and speed and the density will increase up until front half of the head, a year, back half of the head, 18 months. So I always say to guys, first 6 months, just don't expect a lot.
Yeah, good. Keep expectations low. If you get anything more, amazing. If you don't, we told you so.
And one final thing on that, don't compare everybody has their own hair journey.
Yeah.
Individual hair journey. Don't compare yourself to Dave on Google.
Exactly. Because we just recently, we do obviously have our Facebook group that everybody knows about. So if you're already an existing client of Want Hair, or you're looking to be a client of Want Hair, you're going to get a transplant soon, you can join that Facebook group. I've had to put in a notice in the Facebook group just to make sure that everybody knows everybody's journey is different. You cannot compare your hair growth to Sam down the road because his hair is completely different to yours. You don't know what he's...
There could be, I understand. And again, this, as good as our Facebook group is, and positive far outweigh negative, I say to my clients, Facebook group, you've got someone, and there's some there's some very intelligent guys in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
There's guys who've done lots of research. All I would say is this, when I say to my clients, if you've got a question specifically about you, always ask me, because as good as someone might be in the Facebook group, the difference is, who might have done lots of research, the difference is this: I had a hair transplant. I did lots of research before and afterwards. I then waited 3 or 4 years. I then started, so it wasn't quite that long, but I started working in the industry. I did the training in the industry.
Trained professional. Can give you the...
And then on top of that, which nobody in the Facebook group has, I've also had over 400 clients. So when someone asks me a question, everyone has their own individual hair journey, but I've also got lots of experience with regards to certain intricacies with other people, and so I've just basically I've got far more experience than someone in the Facebook group.
So
and so I would just say,
if you have any important question that is going to affect your journey, ask in your group,
your consultant,
or ask your consultant.
Yeah.
Simple as. And apart from that, it's there to share positive stories, to share your experience, give people a little bit of advice, but not professional medical advice.
I think it's more a support network. And
support, that's exactly what's there for.
There's other people there, and you know,
people's journeys, but don't compare.
Exactly.
Simple as.
Because some people on 6 months have unbelievable growth.
Exactly.
But it's rare.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'd say.
Exactly. Let's explore the emotional ups and downs that clients experience before and after the procedure. Because I think although you can see physical changes, I think it's important to mention how somebody might be feeling inside before and after. So before, obviously, we can touch on like nerves, which I'm sure you'll get into and make sure everybody knows that it's very normal. And then obviously how you might be feeling after internally, because it's a big thing now, like mental health is a big thing. So it's important that we touch on not just like the physical aspect and what are the ups and downs that you'd be feeling before and after.
It's a bit different for me because I wasn't overly nervous beforehand.
Yeah. Well, that's good.
I think I was a bit naive though, looking back at it. Listen, it was a while ago and I struggled to remember last week. So
back in 1985,
so I wasn't particularly nervous, but I'm not particularly a nervous person.
In general, that's not how you are.
But sometimes I talk, most clients obviously beforehand, there's an element of nerves or they'll be worried on the day, and that's completely normal. But you do get some people that, you know, they will say to me, you know, their confidence is absolutely shattered. And it's almost like they're pinning all their hopes on a hair transplant. Listen, hair transplants are fantastic. They do improve confidence. There's something, but you know, sometimes you talk to people and there's obviously a lot more
going on. Emotionally, mentally, they've got things going on and you think, is a hair transplant going to solve all your problems? Yeah, maybe for the first year.
Well, I think it could make, it could make it worse because they're sort of pinning all their hopes on a hair transplant.
Yeah, and then again, back to like the expectations thing, they're expecting a lot. And then if it's not quite exactly how they wanted it to be, or that can affect
you got to
mentally.
You have to take each client on their individual merits and sort of assess the situation. I did actually say in the Facebook group, one of my mates had a hair transplant and he had quite bad hair loss, and he was convinced the reason he wasn't having any luck with the ladies was because he was pretty bald
because of his hair.
So I convinced him to have a hair transplant. And then even after the hair transplant, he was getting blown out all the time. But at least he was getting blown out with a full head of hair. So he was happier in himself. But even as a confident person, as I am, it is an emotional roller coaster.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, for everybody.
Yeah.
And that ties into what I was saying a little bit earlier about partly the waiting game, partly when it does start growing. I don't care how good your hair transplant is, when it starts growing, everybody questions it.
Yeah.
Right? So it is an emotional roller coaster. And, oh, it hasn't worked. Oh, it has worked. Oh, it looks amazing. Oh, it's not looking amazing. Oh, and then the problem is, luckily for me, when I had mine done, I wasn't, like I say, it was only 5 years ago, but social media isn't like TikTok wasn't about.
No,
stuff
it's
like that.
not as
So I literally
crazy as it
didn't
is
really
now.
have it to compare it to too many people. I was very aware that if you Google the images you get on Google, probably won't be a fair representation of someone's
Definitely
hair
not.
transplant.
But now there's people like vlogging and doing a whole TikTok video on their beginning to end.
Yeah, but also as well, there's so much editing you can do.
Oh, true. Even they can then edit the bits that they want to edit and make it look like it was a great experience, even though they might have felt nervous and they might have felt.
Yeah, but I think most people feel nervous. I think there's obviously, even if you're not an anxious person, you can have a bit of anxiety about it. I actually had mine done abroad. I flew across Turkey. It didn't really faze me too much, but sometimes I talk to my clients and it's like more they're nervous about traveling than the hair transplant.
Yeah, I had seen somebody had mentioned in the Facebook group, obviously they're just asking for advice. I won't share names, but they're just asking for other people if they felt the same. They said the main thing that they're worried about is once the transplant is done, getting to the airport and walking around the airport with, because you can't wear a hat at that point. So they were nervous about getting on the plane, what people would think of them. It wasn't actually the surgery itself that they were nervous about. It was that part.
Well, a couple things happened to me when I came out, and you go to Istanbul Airport, which is quite a new airport.
Yeah.
There's more people. There's so many people walking around with headbands on.
Yeah.
There was ladies there looking like literally the mummy from the film The Mummy, who had like everything bandaged up. And in all honesty, by the time I got back to Gatwick, I was so tired. I could have been.
But you didn't care.
I could have been walking through there on fire naked. I really wouldn't have cared. I just wanted to get back.
Yeah.
But one thing that did happen to me, which I hope happens to no other clients. So obviously, you can't put anything on your head, and you've got to be very careful with your head. Be careful when you're getting out of a taxi, because when you have a hair transplant, something that happens that isn't always explained very well by any company, your depth perception goes out the window. Meaning, when you're getting in and out of a car, because you can't feel your head, you sense where honestly, the amount of people who bang their head.
Getting out of a taxi, I did see somebody and they knocked it, and then obviously.
Yes. So you've got to be really careful. So I get on the plane and I'm all like, oh, okay, right, I've got to be really careful. And I'm sitting there and there was one seat in front of me. It's a full plane. And this old boy got on, he had his suitcase.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there and he puts the suitcase up into the overhead bin. And just as he does it, I'm thinking he hasn't pushed that in far enough. And it was like something slow-mo. And I just see this.
You were waiting.
55-year-old suitcase full out the overhead bin. And where was it? Of course, the only place it was going to land, it hit me square.
You were red.
On the top of my head. And I was just sitting there for a split second. And I just felt this trickle of blood. Come down. Now, to say I use some expletives is an understatement. And
I'd be so mad.
And then I've got the person sitting next to me nudging me going, I'd be really annoyed about it. I was like, oh, I am. So, yeah, so that happened to me. And I mean, that's pretty rare. But yeah, people, I'm gone off topic, but people do get nervous about going to Turkey. Apart from the old boy who smashed his suitcase into my forehead, I never got his name, Dave.
He's just walking away with
laughing,
scrat hairs,
blood and grafts all over the head of his suitcase. It didn't bother me going away, but I mean, regardless of where you have it done, one other thing that comes up quite a lot with my clients, when we talk through the process and we say you can have a full head shave, they go, oh. A lot of people are more worried about the full head shave than the actual the intricacies of the transplant.
Of getting it done, the procedure,
And I get that, because when I had my
instant, oh my God, my hair is gone.
Well, I think also as well, like I had my hair transplant. Last time I shaved my head for my hair transplant, I was 15 years old, and my mates didn't let me forget about it until I was about 24. So
bullied for the next 10 years.
Yeah, so I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get absolutely crucified for this. And a lot of my clients do say it, but then what happens is after they've had it done, they go, well, I actually think I look quite good with a skinhead.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah, like, have you ever watched Prison Break?
I know who you're talking about, Wentworth Miller.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, he's a really good actor, isn't he?
Oh, you can do an impression of him as well. How does he do?
Okay.
So if I had R2-D2, let go Chewbacca,
Okay, hold on.
Wentworth Miller.
What does he do? I'm trying to...
Oh, well, you can do it better than that.
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Prison Break, Star Wars? I mean, we actually watched it.
I'm here to get you out of prison.
I think you've been watching the different Star Wars to the rest of us. Oh, God.
So, you didn't feel nervous, but it's completely normal to feel that way.
Yes, that would have been a much shorter way of saying it.
No, I'm just...
No. You're going to have anxiety, you're going to have nerves, stuff like that. But once you embrace it, you know.
Oh, do we have a Ferrero Rocher?
I'm trying to quit. I was on 20 a day. Have we got any Ferrero Rocher Light?
Ferrero Rocher 50%.
Have you got, yeah.
No.
Or vape versions. Oh, right. So
Dark chocolate's supposed to be a little bit healthier for you.
I was just about to say, that's the biggest Ferrero Rocher box I've ever seen. Did the company pay for this? I can't imagine them stretching to that.
So we got this as a Christmas gift, and me and Ed have worked our way through that. Or what clients have you had that have really stood out for you that you can think, wow, that was like a really big transformation? Is there any that really stood out to you, like might have been really... Obviously, we're not giving names here, but it might have been a little bit like strange, and then they thought it wasn't going to go well, and it went amazing. Or
I think generally, if someone's having front hairline done, you know, I'm trying to think of clients who've stuck out to me, and there's been a few for a variety of reasons. Normally, just because I've sort of built a bit of rapport from it. It's not necessarily anything about the results, but I've had a couple of guys who, the ones that normally stand out for me, if you've got someone who's got quite a lot of hair loss, and I'll say to them, look, again, as I was saying at the top of this, got to set realistic expectations. We'll get whatever. I always try and undersell it a bit. So I say, like, you'll just get this much done, or whatever. 2 or 3, and it was one of my first clients. He's a gentleman from Liverpool. So I'm trying to think of it. I won't give you his name, but he was a lovely...
Stevie G.
No, no, the Stevie G doesn't need a hair transplant.
No, he doesn't.
Anyway, lovely man. He was, and I remember him well because he was one of my first clients. So we're going back a little bit. Anyway, he had quite bad hair loss, right? He was just lovely guy. He just broken up with his wife, or she just broken up with him. Just a proper sound geezer, right?
Yeah.
Proper sound
geezer.
And I told him about it. He said, "Oh, give it a go." And he had something, and it was unbelievable, his results, right?
See, that makes me happy.
So this is what I mean. So, and listen, I've had lots of clients who are very happy, but because of, I don't know if it's because right at the beginning when I started and stuff like that, but he had a really good result.
Yeah.
It was genuinely like...
actually over the moon. Like, he was really, really happy.
He was so made up, and he's thanking me, and I'm like, oh, I didn't do anything. I just told you like the pros and cons about hair transplants. You know?
I know, but I also think like over that period of 12 to 18 months, you've been the person that they've gone to if they needed help. So like you do build a bit of relationship with your client.
Well, that's what I mean. Listen, I've had lots of clients who've had fantastic results.
Yeah.
And obviously, like you look at it, I remember all the clients, but some clients have, for whatever reason, just have more of a impact on you.
Yeah, they do. Touch a bit of like
I don't know what it was, and
play on your heartstrings.
Yeah. So it was. So we've had an impression of the violin. Play on your heartstrings. Anyway, right. So yeah. So I remember that, but there's been several, but it's not always necessarily because they've had a really good result or something like that. There's just
it's just them as a person.
I'm not just selling it to them and disappearing. No. I'm with them. I'm building a relationship.
You got to stay with them. Yeah, they're coming back 6 months, 12 months.
If you're not vibing off each other, and this works both ways, because there'll be lots of people who've got off the phone thinking,
"Who the hell is this weirdo?
Weirdo Wooly." I mean,
so who is this absolute Keir Starmer looking freak?
Don't look anything like Keir Starmer. Did you even know? Anyway.
Social media told me that. Well, anyway.
Yeah, so sometimes you might not be vibing with someone on a consultation. So basically afterwards, when you'll follow up them, hi, you got any questions? Yeah. But if the mix of personalities isn't good at that stage, it's not going to be great 6 months or a year down the line. right? Now, that said, you give the same attention to everybody.
Yeah, of course.
I generally don't have too many. I've never had too many difficult clients because I think I sort of subconsciously screen them in a way at the beginning stage.
Yeah. So like by the time they get to the point of them booking a surgery or having the procedure done, you know they're a decent person because you filtered out.
Well, yeah, and and like I say, it works both ways. There will be people who just go, whatever.
Some people are, they might just give you like one word answer. It's fine. You leave them to it.
They don't want to tell you the whole
story.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I think I've been quite lucky that I haven't had too many customers clients who I just haven't
gelled with. Yeah.
Now, that said, sometimes you'll get clients who are who need a bit more attention, I think is the best way to describe it. Because not everybody is as confident. Not everybody, even if you can tell 100 people exactly the same thing, but those 100 people are going to retain a different amount of information that you've told them.
Exactly.
So sometimes you'll have someone who just, is this okay? And I'll go, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, but you sure it's okay? I'm like, yes, it's fine.
Yes.
And then, but then you also get, so I think, you take the rough with the smooth in that. If you average it all out, I think if the client is informed correctly at the beginning and all the stages they need to know, and you do your job properly,
correctly,
then generally they're pretty cool,
decent, chill. Yeah.
And I've also had a lot of guys who've had hair transplants with other companies and come to us for a second one, and when they'll go, I was never told this.
I didn't have this communication the first time round. Yeah. Okay, glasses are going back on for the outro. I hope you have enjoyed this podcast with our fantastic Tristan. Tristan, thank you for coming all the way from where do you live?
I live in Durham.
Yeah, Durham.
I'm from Essex.
Yeah, you are.
I live in Durham.
We forget.
I'm from Essex. I live in Durham with my
beautiful,
by
the way,
Scouse. Well, she was born she was born over there, but she got out there as quick as she could. And so there's all different accents in our house, and But I'm from Essex. I'm not from Australia.
Yeah, mate. Okay.
That's
Anyway, thank you for listening.
Yes, thank you for listening to my long, boring stories, people. Can we take these off?
Yeah, we can.
Can I snap in?
We'll see you next time.